everyone, and welcome back to Words I Choose to Live By here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Also, we want to welcome those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. We're excited you guys can be with us for the kickoff of this new season of Words I Choose to Live By that is based on my book you guys see here by the same name. I'm excited to be joined by our co-host today, Dr. Velma Bagby, Melissa Banks, and Tina Siemens. We're going to be talking to you about week by week from the different themes of my book. For those who don't know, my book, Words I Choose to Live By, it does have affirmations for every day, but it kicks off every week with a weekly thought to be able to take into account. And that's what we'll be covering here on this broadcast. You'll be able to hear our different perspectives of it, but also what we hope you're able to take away from it as well. Well, ladies, thank you so much for being with us.
Excited to be
Thank you
here.
for having me.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Well, look, this is going to be an exciting time, and I want you guys to think about this as being our show because that's how I see it, and we definitely want our audience to be a part of it as well. So if you guys would have any questions or comments, make sure you guys put them in the chat. Elevate with Vern, hello to you. Good to be able to see you over there on the IG side. W. Franklin Media, good to be able to see you as well. Dr. Norma, hello to you over on IG too. I think it's pronounced Sanija Banks. Thank you so much for being with us as well. We're going to go ahead and kick off with this week's message. And we're in week number 37 of 2024. So that's where we're starting off today in the book. Hello to you, Wendy, joining us on Facebook. And this is what it says. No need to pretend. If you can be your genuine, authentic self every day, you will never have to pretend a day in your life. And I think this is such a great message for all of us because we live in a world, unfortunately, where people, and we hear it all the time on social media, that they see the highlight reel, right, of our lives. And they don't always see everything that goes on. And some of that is because of us, right? We only try to put forth our best self. But for me, this message is all about being able to show up daily as you and knowing that that's where the true gift is and being able to realize your own authenticity, your own worth, and not trying to be any more than you are. I think one of the greatest lessons that I've learned is something I had a teacher tell me. And she said to me, if you're honest with yourself every day, you'll never have to pretend a day in your life. And I think so many times people are trying to pretend either to make other people think that they're more than they are or because they don't think that they're enough. But I think when you embrace the idea of truly who you are and your value, then you'll be happy just being yourself. So I want to be able to open it up to the floor. Melissa, you're going to kick us off today. How does this message of not pretending, how does it resonate with you as an individual?
This was a very big thing for me. For a long time, I was told that I wasn't worthy. I wasn't good enough. And, I always make these things very personal because I believe that you grow from them when you do that. But I was told so many negative things that I believed that I started to believe that I wasn't worthy. So if I was around a group of people that were very smart or very educated or had maybe even do the same thing I did, I always saw that there was something not quite good enough with what I was doing. So I would shrink so that I would become invisible and then I would feel better. Or I would let people tell me how I needed to present myself. I not long ago, several years ago, I was speaking, and when I was getting ready for my presentation, the host decided how he wanted me to present, what information he wanted me to say, and I got up and tried to deliver what he wanted instead of what was within me. And that was one of the most disappointing performances I have ever done as a speaker. So in my journey, I will tell you, when you show up as you every time, some people say I have a big personality and I don't have to do all of that. Well, yeah, I do because it's me. That's who I am. I'm going to show up as me. I don't care who else is on the panel. And it took a lot of growth. But I'm here to tell you that when you show up as you every time, regardless of who else is in the room, you deliver who you are and what you were intended to deliver. I had to tell myself through affirmations that I am worthy. I was created by the image of God, not by accident. Who I am is who I'm supposed to be. And that's who I'm showing up as. Take it or leave it, good or bad, but that's who I'm choosing to show up as me every single time. And you make that conscious choice. then you're going to feel good about you. The person who's assigned to your voice will get what they're supposed to get because you're speaking from the heart and who you really are. And when I read this, I wanted to jump up and down because this is so important to just show who you are. Don't try when you mimic other people, you're changing who you are every time you show
Yeah.
up. Every time somebody speaks, you're trying to mimic somebody else. So you're constantly changing depending on who you're watching. Just be you because you have something valuable inside.
Amen.
Such a great reminder. Thank you so much for that, Melissa. Dr. Velma, we're up with you. How has it helped you to realize to be able to accept who you are and not feel the need to pretend?
Well, first of all, I never pretended. I always tried to be my authentic self. What I didn't realize is how the world would not receive goodness, a giving, because I have the gift of giving. I care. I'm always pouring into other folks. But growing up, when I didn't understand that very well, I found it being used, being taken advantage of. People knew that I had a good heart, so go to Velma, get it. She'll do it. Why not get it from Velma? That kind of thing. And so it wasn't until I moved into adulthood that God helped me to realize the gifts that He put in me that were not to be just given out. And that's what I had been doing. Oh, let me help her. Oh, let me help him. Oh, let me do that. So what happened was the world began to take advantage of my gifts until God helped me to understand prayerfully, give them. Some people are not intended to be helped or are rescued, which is what I always did. And some people were intended to go through what they're going through. So I had to learn to use wisdom and what He's given me and prayerfully ask who it was I was to help or give to. And so when I looked at this is exactly what God expects us to be as believers. He can't deal with liars and fakes. And so this is what this is saying to me: be genuine all the time, but at the same time, use wisdom. And so what I began to do, even now in business, after God taught me that lesson, I always wait to hear what He has to say about anybody that crosses my path, because I want to know, did you cause them to cross my path? Is this someone I'm supposed to connect with? Because I want genuine people in my life too. And so I had to learn to use wisdom over time. So it's good to be this person, but you also have to protect what God has placed in you. Not everyone is going to understand a truthful, genuine, a person of a high degree of integrity. Not everybody's going to understand that. And I appreciate what Melissa said because it's so true. But at the same time, we have to use wisdom as we go about our day and our business. So in business relationships, I'm looking at who knows this person and who recommended this person. And God, why are they crossing my path? Is this someone I'm to connect? And if I'm not to connect with them, then I won't, because I'm looking for the same thing God has expected me to be honest, to be truthful, to own who I am and to know who I am in Him. And so therefore I try to keep that at the forefront, but use wisdom at the same time.
Love that. Great reminder for us all. Tina, same question to you. What has helped you to be able to accept who you are as an individual and not feel the need to pretend?
Thank you for that. I really feel that I'm still in the learning stages of this process. My dentist, 2 years ago, he asked me if I wanted to be on a mailing list where he would send out a verse of the day every day. And I said, sure. Like, he's a very godly man. And this morning's verse was, uh, be be the one that God has intended you to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we represent Jesus, then we carry His name. So for me in my life, it has always been, I want to be a light. There's a verse in Psalms that says, be that light on a hill. But so often, being authentic, we have valleys that we go through. And it's in those valleys that we learn. And I feel like for me, this past year really has been that valley where I constantly ask myself, who does God why did this happen to me, or why am I going through these challenges? And then I remind myself, yes, God is trying to teach me. And so for me, my own identity is always still a learning process, because I feel like from a very young girl, I knew that God had a purpose for me, because it was very evident that He allowed me to be born when I shouldn't have survived the pregnancy when mom carried me. But God has revealed so many opportunities for me. And then when those doors are closed, where I think I should be walking through, then I need to be patient and be in prayer, waiting in the hallway. But so often I feel like I'm forcing doors that should not be open. I walk through those prematurely, and that messes with my personal identity. So I'm just now beginning to see all of that. They say the first thing of identifying a problem is to know that there is one. So for me, I think learning to be the godly woman that God has intended for me is a working process. So I'm grateful for every day when I see that sunrise come up. I just thank him that I have another day of opportunities. And so I think that I'm an evolving woman that God is not finished yet with. And so I'm grateful for all the lessons that I've learned, but I'm looking forward for that refinement, because the purest gold comes from the hottest part of the fire. So I'm being refined still today, and I'm grateful for that opportunity.
Love that. Such great messages from all three of you. Moses Maddox says, I needed to hear this. The world needs to hear this. Thank you so much for that, Moses. That's why we wanted to bring this show every week, because we think it's such an important lesson. Moses also says we can not have a testimony without a test. For those who don't know Moses Maddox, he just had a book event this past weekend in Ohio. He and I just met in Columbus last month. Definitely make sure you guys check out on Amazon his book, The Book of Moses, as well. Jacqueline says, yes, Tina. She's agreeing with you. And Moses says, amen. Also on Instagram, Spinksman, hello to you. Spinksman says, blessings to everyone. And he also says, truth, God will. Hardcore Grind says, hello to everyone as well. Aguilera 160, hello to you on IG as well. I want to say hello to everyone who's just coming on. You all are watching the beginning of the new season of Word That Choose to Live By. I'm joined by my co-host you just heard there from Tina Siemens. Also, we have Dr. Velma Bagby, Melissa Banks. We're talking about my book, Word That Choose to Live By. It's week number 37. The message is no need to pretend, and we're talking about the importance of being authentic. So I want to go back to the panel and talk to our audience for a moment. We're going to start this round with you, Dr. Velma. So what would you say to our audience then about how they can walk in their own authentic selves and not feel the need to pretend or be someone else?
Well, one of the things all of us have said in our initial show was the importance of discovering who you are. Know who you are. Know what you've been called to do. Know what God has given you as your assignment, your ministry, your business, your brand. And stick to that and don't question it, because the world will try to do that. As I said earlier, they didn't understand how I was wired, what God had downloaded in me. And so therefore, it's important for me to know it and value it and to maintain it. But one of the things that God always requires us as believers, and that is to walk with a degree of integrity, because he lives inside of us. And so why would you try to walk around as a liar when God lives inside? But the other thing that I thought about was, Cyrus, this is a definition of a fool in the book of Fools. In Proverbs 19:1, it says, better to be poor and honest than to be dishonest and a fool. So it's foolish behavior not to embrace who you are, and then walk in what you have been given to do. No apology necessary. That's just who you are. There's no competition in this. We all have an assignment to do. We all have a voice. There's someone that needs to hear us or see what it is that we have to offer. There's an audience for all of us. So there's no competition. So just be your genuine self.
Yeah, I love that. Jacqueline says hello to you, Dr. Velma. Thank you for that, Moses. Appreciate it. Jacqueline also says, yes, I've always been tried to be forced in a box, but I'm emerging. It's happened to all my God-given talents. And that's the challenge, though, right? I mean, Tina, because we, people, I said this recently in an interview that I was on, that we hear people talking about someone being the next so-and-so or being compared to other people, instead of realizing we're just great how we are. So, Tina, what would you say to our audience about the importance of being authentic and embracing their authentic self?
Well, I can't be Melissa or Dr. Bagby or Cyrus Webb or anyone out there. They're all taken. I only have the choice of being me. So when I feel myself filled up with confidence, then I can also. We only give what we have ourselves. We cannot give what we don't have ourselves. So if I walk with confidence, then I will also shine brighter, because it is with the, if I represent somebody else, I will never be able to do that as well as they are.
Yeah.
And so if I don't hone in on what are my gifts, like Dr. Bellman said, she has the gift of giving. I feel like that's mine too. Like I've sometimes jokingly said, "Is there a sign on my back that says go ask Tina Siemens?" Uh, but there, that is such a blessing in disguise, though, because we can now choose who
Yep.
are the people that God has allowed to cross my pathway. And so if I walk faithfully every single day of whoever is going to cross my path, that I will be that right person in that bright shining, because I don't know what they're going through in that moment. So if I can give a word of encouragement, or a text, or an email, or anything to just brighten somebody else's day, or sometimes I feel like even allowing them to see me
Yep.
being in the valley, being the hurt one, uh, is also an encouragement. So we don't always have to be positive, but sometimes showing that I too have struggles. This is how I dealt with my lows, and then that is an encouragement to others. So I'm grateful for not just the good days, but the hard tests as well, because that is our testimony when we come through a difficult time in our life.
Yeah.
Such a great point. Hello to you, Conquer with Chris. Good to be able to see you. Melissa, same question goes to you. What would you say to our audience about the importance of not feeling the need to pretend?
I think it's a awareness. It's a growth process. Just like those negative things that are poured into you that you lean into, you have to grow your way out of them. You do that through process, right? It does. You don't wake up one morning and say, "I'm confident in who I am." It is a growth process, and it starts with affirmations, and it starts with just believing that God did not make a mistake when He created you. He did not wake up one day and says, "Oh, this I'm having a bad day. I'm just going to throw you out there." He woke up with a purpose in mind for you. It's not something you have to work for. It's not something you have to be good enough for. It's something that was a gift to you. So
Yeah.
once you replace all that negative stuff with the positive, and wake up every day with affirmations. Affirmations have been huge for me, and most of you know that. Affirmations have gotten me out of bed in the morning. Affirmations has caused me to believe when all the circumstances in front of me were not great. I don't show up and pretend to be perfect every day, but I do show up every day. I show up for me. Nobody can be a better me than me. No matter what Dr. Bellman do, Dr. Bellman cannot be Melissa better than Melissa can.
No.
And I'm clear about that.
Yeah.
And once you get clear about it, then you can believe in yourself, and whoever is around you will not make you want to diminish yourself and the gifts that you have for yourself, which is so huge. But I just really wanted to make sure that it doesn't come easy, because there's so much out there, right? There's so many people out there. And then we have social media that I can paint whatever picture for you that I want on social media. And so when you start looking at other people and believing the picture that they paint and comparing your life
Yeah.
to what they're showing you, that's when you start to second guess your worthiness. And when you're second guessing your worthiness, you can't show up as your authentic self. I say, believe in yourself, believe that you have every single thing that you need, whatever the circumstance or situation God has placed you in, and act that way every single time you show up, regardless of who else is in the room.
Yeah. Jacqueline says, I think my personality is enough. I'm too much alone to try and take on anyone.
Exactly.
And that is such a great reminder, right? For all of us. And I hope our audience gets this, that no matter what the world will try to tell you, that you are enough and that you don't have to try to be anyone else. And as Tina said, which is such a great point, the other person's taken. Oprah Winfrey, she made a comment one time. Someone was talking about being the next Oprah Winfrey, and she says, "I'm already Oprah. You be the best you. Don't worry about trying to be me." And I think a lot of times we forget that. Moses says, "Great answer, Tina. God created us with our own identities. Even twins have different fingerprints." So true. So with that being said, then I really want our audience to take this in, the importance of being authentic, being themselves, and knowing that that is enough. Again, this is week number 37. We're off to a great start. From my book, Words I Choose to Live By, you guys can get your copy on Amazon, either in hardcover, the paperback like I have here, or the Kindle editions available. We're going to go through now, let you guys know how to also stay connected with our co-host. Tina, you're up front. How can our audience stay connected with you?
They can get in touch with me on social media on all platforms as Tina Siemens, and also email me at k.siemens@yahoo.com, or just message me. I'd love to hear from you.
All right. Thank you for that, Tina. Melissa, how can our audience stay connected with you?
Let me just remind you that every single day when you get out of bed, you just say, I am powerful. I am worthy. I am made in God's image. And that will start you to believing in yourself, and you can show up as your authentic self. You can connect with us at themelissabanks.com, and every single thing that we do, shows from our podcast, you can get our books. Let me remind you of our newest release, The Dream by Him collection, The Dream Journal, that is our newest bestseller on Amazon. You can get every single thing that we do. Connect with us on all social media platforms right there at themelissabanks.com.
Love it. Cayman Kelly, hello to you. I see you over there on IG. Good to be able to see you. Dr. Velma, how can our audience stay connected with you?
I'm on all the social media platforms as Dr. Velma Bagby. I'm also, you can go to my website at drvelmabagby.com to stay in touch and also to stay up abreast of the things that I have happening. I also mentioned the Book of Fools. That's available. I'm sure you have it highlighted. That's one of my last books of the Catch series. I've written this 4-book series about the wrong habits of dating, and the better strategy is a godly dating strategy. So I talked about that. I have the 3rd book, which was written in response to my male readers who asked me, what about the wrong women to date? And that was my blue book, The Wrong Catch, She'll Tear Down the House. So make sure you take a moment to look at the copies in the carousel that Cyrus is highlighting and get your copy. Thank you so much for your support.
All right. Look, great job to all of you. I know this is going to be a great season. You all did such a great job. Make sure you guys are staying connected with all of our co-hosts. We are simulcasting our broadcast. We are on Amazon, but we're simulcasting on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. The majority of them are on those platforms too. So make sure you guys are staying connected with them. And ladies, I will see you all next week.
Have a good week.
It's been a pleasure, everybody.
And we thank you all for tuning into this episode of Words I Choose to Live By. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.